The parents of the 1950s were, I think, the most unusual generation of the 20th century. These are the people who had grown up in the Depression. They had experienced real tough times when they were children and when they were teenagers. And then World War II hit, as many of them were just reaching adulthood, and they had the trauma of the war. And then, after all that, they reached the 1950s at a time when the U.S. was tremendously prosperous, when the economy was booming as we've never seen it before. And I think they reacted to that prosperity, and I think they reacted strongly to all of the trauma of the Depression and the war by turning inward a bit, by marrying young, by emphasizing home and family.
It was a perfect setting in which the youth culture, in a certain sense, could blossom. Life in the suburbs was organized around the kids again. They were the center of attention, endless round of Little League games and PTA meetings, etc. So it was in the suburbs, in a certain sense, that this message about the importance and the uniqueness and the generational potency associated with these kids, I think, was delivered with real force.
In the average American family today, children are the object of more concentrated thought and concern than the young of any previous generation. For out of an increasing understanding of child psychology has come an awareness that children are real people with individual personalities which must be respected and encouraged.
This was a distinctly new way to be raised in the world. And it allowed for a whole generation that I suppose we would now call spoiled kids, which from another point of view simply meant kids who had very high expectations in life with respect to freedom and happiness. They thought life was about being free and about being happy. And they carried those expectations forward into high school and into college, and brought with them a kind of a level of expectation that was simply unprecedented in, I would say, in world history.
We found out in the 50s that if you got up in the morning and went to work and did a good day's work, that things got better. You got promoted or you got more money, you were able to buy furniture, you could have more children, the children could have better clothes, and life just improved. We knew it was because you went to work. But I'm not sure our children realized that. They saw simply that the clothes got better, the house got bigger, the neighborhood got nicer. And I have a strong suspicion that what happened in the late 60s was that the kids who rebelled took it for granted that life would improve automatically.
Now here's a major seed of the 60s. Because of their profoundly different life experiences, kids had trouble understanding why their fathers worked so hard. The way many of them saw it, their fathers were engaging in the single-minded pursuit of material comforts.
My dad was always above board in all his business dealings, but I would say money and getting ahead and making a lot of bucks was his goal. And I think what it was Dad meant well. Dad wanted to love us, but Dad was so busy at work. He would work till 2, 3 in the morning doing artwork for the business. He'd get up early and be gone. I hardly ever saw him.
Everything young boys saw at home and on TV told them that if they did as they were supposed to, they would be, quote, lucky enough to follow in their father's footsteps.
The Cub Scout program helps the boys' adjustment both to the family and to the group.
This son of yours has been fighting again. Look at this shirt.
Can I tell you about it, Pop?
Look, he's proud of it.
Please, Pop.
Not now, Jerry. I'm tired. I had a bad
Mike Kelly
day.
said you didn't have the guts to stand up for yourself, so I took a poke at him. That was all right, wasn't it?
Poor Mike.
What TV showed you was a world in which men were essentially impotent.
He didn't have any right to say that about you, did he, Pop?
Go to your room and get a decent shirt. This minute.
Did he, Pop?
There were no chance for risk. There was no place for excitement. There was no challenges being offered whatsoever. And the other kind of show you could watch were the Westerns, which showed what a real man could do, measuring himself against other men, especially with a gun. And I think that anybody who was a red-blooded American boy in the 1950s knew that they wanted to be more like Matt Dillon or more like the paid gunfighter in Have Gun Will Travel than they wanted to be Beaver Cleaver's father.
Isn't it wonderful how this washer does all these heavy things?
And what did girls feel was in store for them? a life just like their mother's.
Judy, it isn't as bad as all that, dear.
Sorry, Mother. I was just thinking.
About what?
Oh, you know, thinking how awful wash day used to be for you before you had the electric water heater and the washer.
So now I add the pectin.
Educational films like this one reflect society's belief that women could find fulfillment only as housewives and mothers.
Now I let it come to a full rolling boil again. It won't take long. You like to cook, don't you, Pat? Oh, it's not just liking to cook. It's more. It's accomplishing something. It's me cooking. Me, Susan Douglas. And not just cooking, but, well, creating something special. Oh, I wish Miss Holland could talk to you. She could say it so much better than I can. Who's Miss Holland? She's my home economics teacher. Not enough of anyone means soup instead of jelly.
Even girls who were sent to college often majored in what were called the domestic sciences.
Well, there's one nice thing about us happening in class. Here it's part of our learning. At home, it would be a minor tragedy.
There was a song when I went to college, at Smith College, which they don't sing anymore, I know, that had a verse that went something like this. You're sharp as a pinpoint, your grades are really 10-point. You are Dean's List Sophia Smith. But when a man wants a kiss kid, he doesn't want a quiz kid. Oh, you can't get a man with your brains, with your brains, with your brains. Oh, you can't get a man with your brains. And it had verses that went on and on. Now, I sang that in 1957 with a sense of how true it was and how funny it was. Now, of course, it makes a shiver run up and down my spine.
I had 4 choices of things that I could be when I grew up. I could be a teacher, a nurse, a stewardess, or a secretary. I couldn't go into things that dealt with medicine. I couldn't go into law. I couldn't go into the real professions. It was extremely limiting. And of course, the overall goal was to find a husband, get married, have children, and live with a white picket fence.
I used to make little stews for my child and used to spit them out and stick them on the wall, but I went on doing it. I don't know why. Dr. Spock. I think Dr. Spock ruined everything. I really do. I mean, he's wonderful in the peace movement. But there's this whole image of giving your children everything you had, and they have to be satisfied, and they have to be content, and I think we gave them much too much.
And here it is, the American family of the 1950s, as it was seen thousands of evenings on TV. Happy kids, happy father, happy mother. Everyone behaving as they were supposed to.
You know, it's none of my business, but don't you think taking riding lessons is a pretty expensive way to meet a girl?
The message was absolutely unmistakable. This was the way your life should be. And if it wasn't, something must be very wrong.